I feel like the only way you could conclude that the evidence points to there being a God more so than it points to there not being a God is because you're already presupposing that there is a God. Religion is a man-made concept, and it has been used since the beginning of humanity to describe what we don't understand about our reality. And since the formation of religion, we have made many developments in science, in research, in learning about our world. And we can now explain things that religion once tried to explain, but didn't do so accurately or successfully. And how much more will we learn through science and research over the next 10 years, 50 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, if humanity lasts that long? I think it's easy to see God when you're already presupposing that God exists. But if you come to it without that presupposition, you're going to have more questions than conclusion. And I think that's the whole point.
On the contrary, I think there's plenty of evidence for the existence of God. Let me give you at least two arguments that William Lane Craig has defended for God's existence. The first one is the Kalam cosmological argument. It goes like this. The first premise is, everything that begins to exist has a cause. 2, the universe began to exist. 3, therefore, the universe has a cause. According to Craig, this cause must possess certain properties. It must be an uncaused first cause, since an infinite series of causes is impossible. It must transcend space and time, since it created space and time. It must also, therefore, be immaterial and non-physical. And it also must be unimaginably powerful, since it created all matter and energy. And finally, it must also be a personal being endowed with freedom of the will, since if the cause wasn't a personal being endowed with freedom of the will, the universe, the effect, would have existed eternally or timelessly, similar to its cause. Since if a cause is sufficient to produce its effect, and the cause is there, the effect must be there too. But the universe is not eternal or timeless along with its cause, so it must have been created by a personal being with freedom of the will, who brought the universe into being by his free act. So, the cause of the universe, according to the Kalam, is a beginningless, uncaused, timeless, spaceless, changeless, immaterial, enormously powerful, personal creator of the universe. To me, that sounds like God. I don't know about you, but, Now, even if I believed, by the way, in God's existence prior to presenting that argument, that has no bearing at all or relevance to the actual argument. Arguments are good arguments if they are valid and have true premises. Then the conclusion will follow, and the argument will be sound. But whether one already believes in the conclusion is irrelevant. It's just completely irrelevant to whether the argument is in fact sound. This just tells you about the person's psychological state, not about whether the argument is actually sound. So, I think that's just completely irrelevant. The second argument is based on the resurrection of Jesus, which is supported by 4 facts. Fact number 1, after his crucifixion, Jesus was buried in a tomb by Joseph of Arimathea. This fact is based on the historical documents of the 4 Gospels, as well as the sources they used, like Mark's ancient source. Fact number 2, on the Sunday following the crucifixion, Jesus' tomb was found empty by a group of his women followers. Fact number 3, on multiple occasions and under various circumstances, different individuals and groups of people experienced appearances of Jesus alive from the dead. Fact number 4, the original disciples believed that Jesus was risen from the dead despite their having every predisposition to the contrary. You can read a defense of these 4 facts straight from Craig himself in his article. Now, what best explains these 4 facts? I would agree with Craig that the best explanation is the resurrection, for 6 reasons. 1, it has great explanatory scope. 2, it has great explanatory power. 3, it is plausible, since it serves as confirmation of Jesus' own divine claims. 4, it is not ad hoc or contrived. 5, it is in accord with accepted beliefs. And 6, it far outstrips any of its rival hypotheses in meeting conditions 1 through 5. As for science, theists believe in science just as much as atheists. In fact, there have been many scientists in history who have been theists. Isaac Newton, Robert Boyle, Galileo Galilei, Francis Bacon, Arthur Compton, Francis Collins, and so on. I could list tons of others too. This isn't to deny that some religious thinkers have hindered science at certain times, but one should not take this as normative of religious attitudes to science and progress. Indeed, because Christians believe that God is the creator of everything, including science, we believe that scientific progress is a great good and should be pursued. And finally, science has explained a great deal of things, but there are many things science cannot adequately explain. One of these things is, according to the Kalam, the cause of the universe. Another one of these things is morality. How should one live a moral life, and what is morality grounded in? And of course, science can't explain aesthetics and propositions relating to beauty. What makes something beautiful, and what is the standard of beauty? All of these things are better explained by God and, according to the previous arguments, the God of Christian theism.